Hey, what's up guys, Darkbreaker here. In today's video we are gonna react to the balance changes for the new patch. Hickory is coming out on Thursday. For you guys wondering, he's coming out at 2 AM Thursday night, and with him there are also the balance changes for 4.3c, and unfortunately as you guys can see, we have to use the Chinese translations because there are no longer, or there were no official changes of what was that again? The overview map that they usually do, the preview thing. They didn't do it, and the patch notes are also already coming out, and I think the official notes might come out like 3 hours before Hickory comes out. So I was like, hey, let's cover the changes, let's talk about it. And I also want to address something else before we're starting this, that might be a bit connected, that the English translations are not out yet, and the English patch notes have been very bad translated lately. And I think the focus of like Wildrift and how Riot Games is operating, or where the employers are working from, is now shifted towards Shanghai. The Wildrift devs are mainly concentrated, or they wanted to be concentrated in Shanghai now, and a lot of Wildrift devs are leaving. For example, Maddie, who was working on like I think skins and champion releases, is no longer working for Wildrift. She just came from parental leave, as you guys can see here. Then we have Riot F Slug, that was also working for Wildrift, also leaving. And then we also have Jared, that was the former game director of Wildrift, also leaving. And you guys can see his answer right here. After just short of 4 years at Riot Games, it's time for me to embark on the next chapter on my career. Unfortunately, like many others throughout the game industry, my role was affected by a reduction in force, by the way. What do you guys think about those changes, that they wanna move a lot of manpower that they had across, like in Los Angeles, the Riot office in Los Angeles, they're moving it more towards Shanghai, and I feel like maybe the West might not have that much focus as like China. But I mean, we had like, I think, where was it? I think it was Stuart or something. There was like an answer about like one writer answering to Stuart or something. Maybe just look for Stuart. It's Stuart? Because I saw Stuart was answering towards him. So maybe then I can find it. I think it was, yeah, under Riot Meddler. Because Riot Meddler did like a question and answer. There's been some chatters recently about the development team for Wildrift, so I wanted to offer some visibility into how the team's been evolving behind the scenes. I know this should be more about the balance changes, but I just want to hear you guys' opinion. Like mainly, I want to hear you guys' opinion about what you think is the game state of Wildrift, what you guys think about the future of Wildrift, and what you think about those changes, the changes regarding the Wildrift developers. I hear. As part of that process, we have identified that our Riot Shanghai office is a great location for new hires for Wildrift, given how strong the talent market for mobile devs is in Shanghai. And they're hiring a number of roles there as a result, and they're shifting or moving a lot of forces towards Shanghai instead. It's still gonna continue to happen from Riot. I mean, to be honest, I think it's not gonna affect it too much, but I can definitely see that normally you would get this balance change overview at Saturday already. It's already Tuesday, nothing. And it happened the last time as well. So that's why I'm thinking, the English translations for the patch notes were also very bad. Like, I've seen on Reddit people complaining about the bad translations, like they're just smashing it onto Google Translations or something. So now you have your answer why I'm reacting like this for the balance changes overview, because they didn't release the official changes at all. So Chaos released the Chinese notes, and we just use the translator so you guys can see the changes. These are the buffs and these are the nerfs. But yeah, let's get started. Let's get started, guys. So for the buffs, first of all, we have Tryndamere first ability, Bloodthirsty Killing. Additional recovery per point of rage is getting increased by 0.3 at every rank. And then for the second ability, the cooldown is getting decreased by 2 seconds. Tryndamere buff on PC, by the way. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna increase the sustain by a lot. 0.3. So, Tryndamere is kind of sleepy champion that is underrated, but I think in this current meta he's hard to play because there's a lot of crowd control going on, like a lot of tanky and crowd control compositions, but I think in lower ranks Tryndamere is obviously a great pick. Then we have Teemo, the passive skill, Poison Shot. The output per second is getting increased. I mean, you can see the changes right here. Spell power per level +5, plus level, plus times 3, plus 9% spell power. So the scaling is getting increased by 9. Then also the amount times level is also getting increased. So the more levels you have, or the more experience you have, the more dot damage over time you will do. And it also has better scaling now. So at every level, every level increase, you will have more damage on your poison tick, plus better increase for the late game as well. Then for the second ability, the cooldown, the second ability is the ability that gives you movement speed, is getting decreased by 3 seconds in the late game. And then for the ultimate, the base damage is getting increased by 25 at every rank. So this is gonna make Teemo way better into the late game, and Teemo in the late game is actually a very strong pick. So the shroom damage in combination with the Liandry in the late game can be very powerful. Lee King, aka Lee Sin. This is Lee Sin, by the way. Next one is gonna be Lee Sin. I wonder if my camera is a bit too big right here, maybe. Lee Sin. So for the first ability, the cooldown is getting decreased at every rank by 1. For the second ability, the cooldown is also getting decreased into the late game by up to 3%. Then for the third ability, the damage is getting increased. The attack bonus is getting increased from 100% to 125%, and then the cooldown time is getting decreased from 10 to 8%. So Lee Sin is getting a major buff, by the way, a major Lee Sin buff. Then for the ultimate, the base damage is getting increased by 25 at every rank. So first ability getting cooldown decreased, second ability getting cooldown decreased, then third ability getting attack damage ratio increased, plus cooldown getting decreased, and then ultimate is getting base damage increased. In the massive Lee Sin, I can definitely see why, because Lee Sin is in higher ranks not as consistent as he used to be, but he's still an excellent snowballing champion. I think in lower ranks Lee Sin is still dominating super hard in the right hands. Remember, a skill based champion with high skill ceiling, so the one trick pony Lee Sins are gonna benefit a lot from these changes, and I think Lee Sin is gonna be super broken with these changes. Then for Morgana's second ability, the damage per tick is getting increased by 2. That's massive. Then for the third ability, the cooldown is getting decreased in the early game by 3. That's massive. Morgana jungle, actually underrated. I've played Morgana jungle a lot, and I think she is very strong right now. Now we have Ahri. Now Ahri's passive. The recovery you're getting, the healing you're getting is getting increased, plus the ability ratio is also getting increased. Nice to have passive buff. And then the movement speed on the second ability is also getting increased by 5%. Nice to have Ahri buff. I think she kind of fell off. I always had her in S+, but I kind of let her put her in S tier, so this might put her back into the S+ category. Yeah, nice to have buff. More healing, more recovery on the passive, and more movement speed on the second ability. Now for Samira, in the passive, she's getting more movement speed now from 2.5% to 3.5%. And then we have the first ability. The attack power bonus ratio is getting increased by 10%. Damn. That's a nice attack damage ratio buff. Then for the ultimate, the mana consumption is getting decreased and the attack power bonus ratio is getting increased. So attack damage ratio is getting increased by 5%. That's a solid buff for Samira. More damage on her first ability, on her ultimate, and then more utility thanks to the movement speed increase on the passive. Now for the nerfs, I think I'm gonna zoom this in a little bit more. This might be... okay, like this. So for the nerfs, we have Vladimir. Let's see, I'm just comparing the stats right now. Okay, the level is getting decreased from 12 to 10. Then the ability ratio is also getting decreased. And then instead of missing health, it's lost health now. So way less healing on the first ability. Base per level plus ability ratio plus instead of total missing health is lost health. I wonder how they're changing this exactly. The lost health to missing health to lost health part. I guess they just changed the numbers, kinda. Okay. Now for the second ability, I'm just checking, I'm just comparison. Okay, the maximum HP ratio is getting decreased by 1%, but the base stats stays the same. The blood damage itself is getting decreased base stats wise, plus AP ratio wise, plus HP ratio wise. So base damage 10 per level, then ability power ratio getting decreased by 5%, and then maximum HP is also getting decreased by 0.5%. I mean, I think these are big changes for Vladimir, and I think he was in a very broken state. We will see if he's still gonna be broken or if these nerfs are gonna hit him hard enough. I think they are pretty big nerfs, but are they big enough to nerf Vladimir? I mean, his win rate is massive, but I think he's still gonna be very strong. Ornn gets another nerf, and I like it because he's too strong. The resistance he's getting from the passive is getting increased in the late game by a lot, from 28% to 22%. Then for the second ability, the maximum amount of damage is getting decreased in the late game from 24% to 20%, and the minimum damage is also, let's see, is also getting decreased by a lot, by 30 at every rank. It's a massive on second ability nerf. Then the passive skill fire stun time, or I think that's the brittle knockback CC time is getting decreased by 0.25 at every rank. And then the shattering fire basic damage is also getting decreased in the late game. Then for the third ability, the cooldown is staying at 14 seconds at all time. Oh no, wait, this is a cutoff. Skill lava shit is any. Now we have any nerf. Okay, so we have passive nerf and second ability nerf for Ornn, and for Annie it's the shield nerf. So the cooldown is 14 seconds at every rank now. The second base shielding value is getting decreased, and the movement speed is also getting decreased. Then for the ultimate, they are nerfing the base damage. Yeah, they're nerfing the base damage of the initial cast, and then for the second cast, they're nerfing the base damage and the AP ratio, and they're also reducing the range of Annie's ultimate. That's a massive, like, all of these changes, I like them. Annie's shield, the movement speed, that's what made her really good, and the cooldown is also getting decreased. Getting increased only for, like, all the time 14 seconds. That's massive. That's really good Annie changes, I like them. Ultimate range getting decreased as well, and then the damage of the first and the second cast getting nerfed as well. Then for Vayne, the attack speed growth per level is getting decreased by 1%. That's big. So 15% attack speed less in total. The movement speed she's getting from the passive is also getting decreased by 5. And then for the third ability, the cooldown is getting increased from 18 to 21. Plus 3 in the early game, stays the same in the late game. And this icon right here is Jin. Jin bonus damage of the last bullet from 14% to 10. Then level times 1%, kept at 25% at level, missing health. Level lost of health. I don't know. Level plus level times the percent of missing health. So now it's 10% plus level lost of health. I'm just thinking about how they're wording it and how they're affecting it exactly. Before it was 1% times missing health, right? And now it's just level lost of health. I mean, they're probably trying to the more the enemy is missing, the more damage you would do now, and now it's less. I mean, that's basically what they want to do, I guess. I guess the scaling was higher because it was kept at 25%, and now it should be less. I mean, this Chinese translation, it's unlucky, guys. Level loss of health. I mean, if you guys know it better, you guys can write it down. And then for the second ability, the base damage and the attack damage ratio is getting nerfed. I mean, obviously the passive is a big nerf from 14% to 10, and then the second part is not sure, but they're probably trying to make it way less damage, so the passive is not gonna do as much execution damage. And then also the second ability is gonna do less damage now. Well, I like the change. I like the nerfs. I like the nerfs for all of these champions. I think they're all fitting. And then for the buffs, I think Lee Sin maybe a slight buff. Tryndamere buff, nice. Teemo buff is okay. Morgana buff is also good. Ahri buff is fine. Samira buff is fine. Lee Sin buff is overkill, but I think it's also okay. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. You guys can write down below in the comments your opinion, and if you guys have any correction about me saying something wrong, you can write it down below as well. I see you guys. Bye bye.